All right, so I had to add this sound in because for some reason I forgot to put my microphone off mute. So I'm just going to put this audio, I recorded this part of the audio, the first few minutes, and I'm just going to put it over the top of the video. So today we're going to be talking about FT8 and how to use it. Last week I had posted the same thing, then they copyrighted me, demonetized it, so I'm just re-recording it. For my computer here, I use Ham Radio Deluxe, so I went ahead and started Ham Radio Deluxe, and we'll be talking about downloading, installing, and setting up WSJTX and Grid Tracker. So let's see where he goes now. I have to wait and see what he does next. There's two websites you're going to want to go to. It's very easy to just Google WSJTX and Grid Tracker, and you'll find the web pages for those downloads. Um, all right, so just repositioning my radio pane. I have everything run through Ham Radio Deluxe, so all my cat control runs through Ham Radio Deluxe, and I'll show you if you use the same how to set that up in WSJTX so that there's no COM port issues or anything like that. As you can see, I've got quite a few different programs there, so I hope to be able to go over more of those like VARA, VARHF, JS8 call. I've done something on WinLink before as well. Um, but FT8 is a fun digital mode. It goes off a very weak propagation, so it works when conditions aren't the best, although it is limited on what you can transmit and receive, which is why a lot of people don't like it. And it's uh, most of it is fully automated, so that's also something people don't like. I don't recall how far into this, maybe 10 minutes before I realized my meter wasn't moving. Um, I must be messing with my video as my profile keeps sizing large and small. So here we're starting with WSJTX, and you'll see at the top there it's a SourceForge. So go to the one that says that, and if you go to SourceForge's main page on the left, this does um, FT8, MSK144, JT9. The WSJTX does a lot of different modes, these digital modes. Um, so go to soundforge.io, and if you just go to soundforge.io, it'll take you to the home page, and you'll have to click WSJTX here, and it'll take you to this page. As you can see, there's documentation and users guides, but scroll down about halfway and you'll see installation packages. And you see below that, you're going to see candidate release. So the installation package at the top there is the final approved version. And determine if your Windows is 32-bit or 64-bit. Most are 64, I believe. If you're unsure, YouTube to find out what yours is, or just install the 32.exe. So you'll download whichever one you need there, and then once it's downloaded, you'll just run that just like any other program. You'll install it, and then we can go over setup here in a bit. The other one is Grid Tracker. This is not necessary to run WSJTX or FT8. This is just a fun side program that lets you have a visual, live visual of who's QSOing who on a map. And again, download the proper version that you need, Linux, Mac, Windows, and run the install. Just follow all the defaults on these installs, and we'll go into the setup next. I'm just explaining a little bit about Grid Tracker, kind of what I've already said. Now that I'm overlapping audio, I'm just basically condensing what I said to the most necessary things needed. So one thing I have an issue with, for some reason, I have to run Grid Tracker first, so I load it first. I found that many times when I do Grid Tracker last after WSJTX, I'm not getting the live updates. Um, so anyway, I run Grid Tracker first, then I run WSJTX. Uh, that one runs in administrator mode, I believe. So you open up these two windows. The top window, that's your waterfall, and the bottom window is the QSO area and settings and frequency and all that. As you can see up at the top, you see some QSOs already going on, and then on the left you see them pop up just now. They just populated. And then once I've got those up and running, I click on Hammer Deluxe's logbook, and I just minimize that. But what's cool is I got Hammer Deluxe set up to log to all my places. You can do that with WSJTX, but I don't always just do FT8. So I'm going to unmute. That's always fun. Uh, it's okay. You don't have to hear all the stuff that I was saying that's not necessary. So what I did was, now that I've got volume, I showed you the two web pages you need to download: WSJTX from SoundForge, and I may just voice over that if I can before I upload it. But you'll download WSJTX and you'll download Grid Tracker. Grid Tracker is not necessary to run FT8, but it's a fun way, as you can see, to visually see what's happening when you're transmitting and who's using FT8 and who's connecting to who. So now that we're caught up, I've got Ham Radio Deluxe running. Everything I do runs through Ham Radio Deluxe COM port. So server, UDPs, all the information sharing back and forth is all already set up. So let's go over that a little bit to try to help you see what you have to set up. Excuse me. So for some reason, I have to run Grid Tracker first, or I don't get the data here. And those of you who have information or knowledge on server and UDP and all that stuff within these ham radio programs may understand why. I don't know why. So I run Grid Tracker first, and then I open up my WSJTX. And because I'm using Ham Radio Deluxe, once I got all that open, I open up my logbook, which is here, and it will automatically log. I'm not going to go into so much as setting up all the UDPs with anything with Ham Radio Deluxe, but let's say you've run both WSJTX exe file and the Grid Tracker file, and you've got these installed. And let's say you pop up Grid Tracker first. You're going to go to these settings here, and you're going to make sure that your port 2237 is here. Put in your grid square. I have it set to miles. You can set it to nautical, degrees, kilometers. And I don't have that enabled. So this is basically what you need for it to receive UDP messages from WSJTX, and that will tell you these lines, who's QSOing who. Okay. Uh, Lookups, if you have QRZ or any of those lookups, you can set those settings. I have QRZ.com, and so I've got my login here, and I'll show you what that's for in a minute. Audio, that's just for me to listen here. This is not connecting to the radio. That's WSJTX and Ham Radio Deluxe in my case. Next, we've got the map. I don't mess with anything there. Grids, I don't mess with anything there. Logging, you can put in what you log if you want to use this to do your logging. All I think I have here is just Grid Tracker, and it saves a file. It's a log file. Because Ham Radio Deluxe or WSJTX does the rest. It does my QRZ, it does the other logins, so I don't have those set up. But if you're doing this not with something like Ham Radio Deluxe, you can get all these logins set up with your logins and all that. Alerts, I don't touch, I leave that. You can mess with that if you want. I don't mess with that. Logbook. I can put my call sign in there, I suppose. I don't worry about that. My log is on Ham Radio Deluxe. You can check updates here and about the program. So that's pretty much it. This is really the most important thing, having 2237 and put in your grid square and then lookups if you want to. Uh, when you make a QSO, it'll pop up who you're contacting. That's it. Let's X that out and I'll show you real quick. Here is where you can click to look a call sign up. And that will come up like this. I have it on the other window. Um, and when you click in WSJTX and start the QSO, it'll put their call sign in here. So let's pull mine up, and it'll automatically populate this, and you'll see this information of who you're QSOing. Um, this is because I'm on QRZ.com. It says right here, source QRZ.com. So that's something pretty cool. You can kind of see where they are. And then here it'll show a line. If I'm QSOing someone in France, you'll see the line going here and it'll be red instead of blue, I believe. Just red or maybe red and green. I can't remember. So we'll see that when we test it. All right, so let's move to WSJTX. Once it's installed, you're going to come down here to File and Settings, and you're going to put in your call sign, your grid square. Okay. I don't know the default settings. These are just the settings I have. Display distance in miles. I got double click on call, sets transmit enable. So if I see here's W1A1 AW, I can double click right there and it'll start the transmit sequence. Uh, Go through here. If there's things you find you like, add them. If you don't, you don't have to. Radio. This is where I have Ham Radio Deluxe selected and CAT. You're going to have to choose the radio or method that you use. They've got tons of radios in here. Or if you use, say, OmniRig or any of those other Electcraft, you just got to set that up. And I'm not going to go into that. That's specific to your radio. And to make sure it's all working, you can click Test CAT. We got green. Test push to talk. It's going down. So I'm good to go. I set it to USB just to get this wider bandwidth of visual in the waterfall. If I do data packet, it's going to narrow it down to a smaller section. And I just like seeing here, and I can get more options to connect or to see who's talking. Audio, this is the most important for WSJTX. To get the waterfall, you have to choose the correct audio source. My Yaesu 101D has built-in audio. 991 has it, and ICOM, Kenwood, they've all got radios with built-in. If you don't have one that's built in, then you need something like a Rig Blaster or Signal Link or the DigiRig or something to interface the sound from your computer to the radio and back. So in my case, it's the line in audio codec, speakers, USB audio codec. That's it. Transmit macros, I didn't really set anything up. I just use what's already set. Reporting, I do have it set log automatically only when you're doing the contest mode, so it makes it quicker. And I have enabled PSK reporter spotting, use TCP/IP connection. And here's where that connection is for Grid Tracker. You're going to have to check these three boxes: accept UDP request, notify requests, and accept UDP request restores window. See this 2237 UDP server report. So the server is the one that serves, right, the information. Remember that 2237? And you look over here, Grid Tracker, General 2237. So Grid Tracker is going to be constantly checking this 2237, and WSJTX is going to send QSO information to that port 2237, which Grid Tracker is set to get, and that's how you get all this information. And then I also have that linked with my Ham Radio Deluxe and logging software. I've got the secondary depreciated, and that may be my logging software, but you don't need that to connect with Grid Tracker. I just have it enabled. I believe I have that enabled for my logger. It might be for something else. I can't remember. But just to make sure you have the 2237, these things checked, and I'll show you that PSK reporter here in a second, what that does. It's pretty cool as well. And moving on. Frequencies, I don't mess with this. You can take things out if you don't do JT9 or anything. You can take stuff out if you want. I don't see the point. Just leave it. Colors, if you like different colors for new DXCCs or new CQ zones, you can change that however you want. This shows your CSV file for your log book of the world activity, and you can validate that file. And then advanced, this is where you can do that contesting mode. So you would check this box, and for field day, you would check this bullet, and over here you'd put your field day exchange, let's say 1A North Texas. And then it would put in the auto sequencing your information, and you can make those things. So really Roundup has it, and the Worldwide Digi Contest, EU VHF, North American, and some fox hunting I've never messed with. But I have used it for field day, so it makes it quick and easy. But we're not doing contest mode, so we'll OK it. We've got everything set up here. Now we're good to go, but there is one more thing you need to do. You need to make sure that your clock or your computer clock is synced with like an international or nationwide server. Um, so another program you can get, see this one right here is called Network Time Synchronization. So look for NetTime or some app, unless you have it set up in Windows or Mac to automatically, um, I think mine's set to automatically update sync time too, but I just got this just to make sure. So anytime I start, I'm going to right click that, update now, and I know for sure that my clock is synced. Okay. Now let me turn the tuner on. It's bypassed, but I do have to have that on. We're on 20 meters. It's, almost, let's see, almost 9. Yeah, 8:45 p.m. So 20 meters isn't going to be as popular, but let's give it a try. Let's see what we can hit here. I'll double click that one. You can hear that sound. That's my transmit sound. Usually I have the volume off. I'm at 40 watts. Volume's oh, actually I think it's going to go through another method. Um, so let's see if we can QSO them. I didn't look to see. It should be tuned. I'm on a 6 Hustler BTV, and yeah, and for some reason my radio window's not showing. So let me. Oh, it's not. It's got to be above this, I think. Huh. Radio screen. I'll just let this run while I figure this out. Mirror box capture. There we go. Activate it, deactivate, and reactivate. So if we want to see who that is, I don't have it up, but that's James Best in Barbados. So that gives you that information, who that is. I'll let it go one more time, and I'll show. You'll see it go from me. See the red line now? So that's my QSO or attempted QSO. I think when they come back, it might be green. But what we're going to do is we're going to switch to 40 meters. I think we'll have a lot more people. Um, uh, I'm going to wait now. I just transmitted, so I'm going to wait and see if he caught that last transmission. Let's just see. Okay, he did not. So here are all the transmissions going on in the waterfall. Okay, on the left window, that's all the transmissions you see here. Each one of these is a transmission, and it's going down, of course. So see this one on the far left. That's a pretty strong transmission because there's a lot of red. Uh, so they transmit for that 15-second increment. And then the second part is blank because no one's responding to them, or if they are, I can't see it. Then they transmit again. Then the next 15 seconds increment is hopefully someone, replying to them. If not, so basically, see, you're transmitting every other 15-second increment. Okay, that's how that works. And then up here, you'll see these two lines. So this is where I am. This is where I'm going to be. So when you start, what you want to do is right click. You want to find kind of a clear area. So Let's go right about here, offset from this transmission. You don't have to be much. And let's right click and then left click set, receive, and send. The erase button once will erase this right window. Try it twice will erase this left window. Okay, so what I would do is I'm going to find what looks open to me, let it run a couple cycles, and I'm going to see if anyone transmits over here. If not, then I'll start my transmission. And here are the sequences of QSO transmissions. This is what a lot of people don't like about FT8, and that is it's a set sequence of text, basically. So I think 13 characters, if I remember correctly. So you don't do much. It's probably the least hands-on of any mode, and that's why a lot of people don't like it. And they try to say, well, it's not really ham radio, or for whatever reason, they don't like it. And I understand that, and that's fine. Um, but it's very weak propagation. So a few years ago when it was horrible conditions, you may only hear two or three or four people on SSP or voice, but you might see 20 or 30 people doing this. So it still kind of gives you a little bit another option, especially if you've got a compromised antenna, say you're in an apartment or something. You can still make some contacts with this, albeit uh, a pre-selected or predetermined set of texts. Let me deactivate and reactivate this. Oops, that's the wrong one. Um, this one. And I'm really not sure why it's doing. Oh, I changed my. Oh, whoopsie! I changed my webcam to the wrong thing. Let's go back to that and deactivate and activate that to get that going again. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So let's get back to this. Let's look at our window here. Up at the top, you've done your settings, and over here you're going to do your mode. So see, you can do FT8. Make sure it's FT8 here. You can do FT4, which is even quicker. And you got JT65. You can do whisper and let it run. Sometimes I've done that, 5 watts or 10 watts, and I'll just let it run for a few hours and help out, the whisper to show propagation. But we choose FT8, and then we're going to choose our frequency. Right here, you got the frequencies all predetermined, and it's in that digital range, right around RTTY's frequencies. So let's switch to 40 meter, and then when I start a new frequency, I double click erase to erase both windows and get a fresh start. So see here's some more, all these transmissions coming in. And the color scheme I had I think is the default. It's like digi something. Red is a stronger transmission, but you really don't need much. If you even look right here, you can barely see some stuff, but it's still going to show up here. So we got quite a few people on. I'm going to shrink this one a little. Whoop. I'm going to shrink this one a little bit. We'll bring this one up better. Let's do that. Volunteers on the air. We got a POTA activation here, and volunteers on the air. So see, what you can do is you can look at this, and what I do a lot of times is I'll just leave my FT8 running on another screen on my computer while I do something else. Um, and I'll watch it, and if I see a call sign I want, or oh, that's interesting, I'll click on it and make a QSO. So it's one of those where you can kind of set it to the side, just monitor it. You don't have to be like proactively clicking PTT and listening and changing frequencies. Everybody doing FT8 on 40 meters is basically on this frequency. Um, so let's go ahead and watch here. We'll watch this next cycle. This is the cycle, the green bar. See 12 of 15, 13, 14 of 15. Now it starts the new cycle. So look, see 40 meter. Look how many people are on here. There's a lot of people on here. Looking at stuff like this guy right here has DX next, so he's really looking for DX stations. So I wouldn't double click and try to QSO with him necessarily. But here, if you want to do volunteers on the air, this one CM, I'll click on it next round, but it's probably, I don't know, maybe Cuba. CO, I believe, is Cuba. Let's try that one. So that's what it sounds like when you transmit. I'm going to turn the monitor off so we don't hear that. And so see what it did was I replied to him, so it moves to the first of these transmissions, and it's giving him my grid square. So on his computer, if he copies me, he's going to see that, and his computer is going to automatically go down and give me a signal report. And then mine is going to if it sees that, is going to automatically give a signal report to him. He's going to come back with a 73, then mine's going to come back with a 73, and the QSO is done in 15-second increments. And then FT4, like I said, is the same kind of thing. It's just much quicker. So we're going to give him a few rounds. Be patient, especially with some of these DX entities. You want to give them time. And I find a lot of times it takes 4 or 5, then they'll hear me. And that propagation, how sometimes it goes up and down, and then they'll get back to me, and it might take a little longer. But let's give Cuba. Um, there he is, Cuba Julio, and we'll give him a second to connect. And this does have a set amount of turns. I want to say it's 10 times, and then it will automatically stop. So you don't have to sit here and click enable, but if you wanted to stop it, you would click halt, and it would stop that transmission. Let's say he's not answering, I want to stop, and there's someone else I want to grab really quick. I could click halt. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll click halt. Wait, we're transmitting now. I'll do one more. We'll do halt. Now, if he comes back on me now, then I'm going to have to come down here. He's giving me a signal. I can double click whatever he did, and it will start that sequence again. It'll put that sequence where I should be, which is Roger, and give him his signal report. Okay, so we couldn't quite connect with him. We could try Canada maybe, but you want to kind of do it right at the end of this when you see everyone populate. And now let's do this, maybe Mexico. I think that's Mexico. Oh, Canada. Interesting. I guess I could have just looked here. And if I'm not getting out, at 40, maybe I need to move it up to 50. I'll give another 10 watts. We'll give it a try. A lot of people do QRP on this. We're getting out. SWR is about 1.1, doing about 30, 40 watts. So it all looks good. Again, I'll give him a couple times. But if he keeps coming back with the CQ, then he's just not reading me. I'll bump it up to 50 for the next one, and then if he doesn't get that, we'll move on to someone else. We'll try 50. I just don't think he's seeing us. And if we don't get anything back at the end of this, I will click halt. If he does come back, I would have let the enable go. Okay, he's not seeing us. So let's try, there was a POTA. Let's see. That was brief. You'll see down here is what frequency you're at, what call we're trying to catch their grid square. Let's try that POTA if I can grab them. Where did that go? VODA. Well, I guess not. Sorry, I'm very tired today. Let's see, let's try this one. Okay, so it's down here, Dominican Republic. Usually have pretty good luck with Central and South America. Caribbean, of course, is not Central America, but it's kind of in that same range. Let's see if we get them. I'm going to give him 2, and then we'll move on to someone else. Oh, there's that POTA now, dang it. Started getting into more POTA this year. They got so many cool little like achievements, certificate achievements, which are kind of fun. And they got graphs and everything. It's kind of fun to try to go for those. All right, I'm going to halt if he comes back with another green like this, CQ, I'm going to click halt. Let's see what comes up. And if it's okay, so he's not seeing us. So what we're going to do is we are going to try to find an empty area. Maybe right. Nope, that one's there. That one's there. Let's try it right here between these two. I'll erase it and let's see if we see anything here. And then you'll see a red and green, one for transmit, one for receive. So right now I'm sending and receiving on the same frequency. But when I clicked on somebody else, it moved. I don't know why I always confuse those two. It moves one of them uh, to another frequency, to where that person is. We'll test that out and see who it is. Okay, so 2 cycles, nothing here. I'm going to click down here on CQ, my call, and I'm going to enable. And I like to always transmit even on the even, not the odd. So we're currently on odd. So when it cycles through, you're going to see the transmit start. So there it's transmitting. And now we'll see who's copying us if someone comes back to us. Hopefully we'll get 2, and I'll show you kind of how to juggle when there's a couple people trying to get you. So basically the exchange on FT8 and FT4 is your call sign and the grid square and your report. But it's all automated. You can go in here and manually type something, 13 characters or less, and send it manually. So honestly, if you really needed to get some kind of brief emergency message out, you could do this. All of a sudden, someone's transmitting where we are, so they must not hear us. All right, let me show you PSK. Let me pull a window up. I'm going to show you PSK Reporter. PSKReporter.info, and then on there you're going to click Map. Let's see, make sure if we get someone QSOing us. So once you go there, let me zoom in just a little so we're not overlapping. So you're getting, see how all these, we got yellow, right? Because I was on 20 meters, and up here's the legend. Here's 20 meters, yellow, and the blue is 40 meters. So these are the people that could hear me, and they had enabled PSK Reporter on their systems or on their setup. And so what it does is it reports to PSK, and it kind of gives you an idea of what area you're getting, or you're reaching. So right now you see this pie. So I'm connecting with people almost in a 360-degree range. If I was getting someone in Australia, it would fill that gap. Perhaps uh, Philippines or any of these other islands would fill that gap in, and it'd be 360. But right now, I'm just not reaching Australia, or perhaps nobody's on FT8 right now that can hear me. Here's one in New Zealand. If you hover over it, you see in the bottom left corner, it says 20 meters. He heard me at negative 17 dB. So it gives a little bit of information. Even shows what he's using, JTDX, which is another software program, and a mini whip. Interesting. So let's close that. That's PSK Reporter. It's fun to look at, give you an idea of who you're reaching. I can see that I'm even getting some DX over here in Spain and Switzerland. They're hearing me, and South America, we got Colombia, we got Argentina and Chile. People are hearing me even up into Alaska. So not bad, not a bad range from a hustler. Bumped it up to 50, so the last 5 minutes are probably 50 watts. Can't remember when I bumped it up. So that is PSK Reporter. Let's shut that down. Okay, so while we were doing that, this was still CQing, right? Well, we got someone to come back. This KC2NJ is giving me a negative 14 report. And then I'm trying to get him, but if he's transmitting, I'm not getting him, or he may not be getting me. And here he is trying again. So my computer's automatically trying again to get him. I'm not sure what his setup is. And again, give it a few tries, be patient. Some people they move on right away, and you can do that too, I suppose, if you're contesting. But usually, if you're not getting somebody, you'll get them within the next 4 or 5 or 6 cycles, and you can make the QSO. And I've done that to get like South Africa or those places that I really want. Doesn't look like he's gonna get to us. Okay, so he's trying one more time. We're still at 50 watts. It looks like we're putting out, actual output is actually 40. So let me see if is that still, okay, it's not locked up. For some reason that window locks up. I'm using this little multi-DB HDMI device to put that screen up for my SDR. Okay, if he's not, you know what I'm going to bump it up to 60. Let's see if maybe a little more wattage. And that actual is 46 maybe. Oh, actually that's 35. Let's see. Let's see if we got him with 60 watts. We're not, I don't think we're going to get him. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that mid transmission. I'll leave it at 60 so we can get some QSOs here before I shut down. Let's see who we got coming up next on the next cycle. Can usually get California pretty good. Looks like there's a few stations in California. Let's try a volunteer on the air. That one's up here into why does it say Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania? Interesting. So he's in Ohio, and we'll see if he comes back to us. I want to make at least one full QSO before we end this. And sometimes during contest and such, if you're doing a contest mode, you might get a couple. If you're doing CQ, you might get a couple people at the same time coming in. What I do is I let it cycle and make the QSO with the first person. Then I go back up to where the second person's uh, initial transmit is, or if they continue, I double click it and it'll start the cycle and change the call sign for that person. Okay, here we go. NN8B is coming back, giving up a good 00 report. So then it automatically cycles. I call back and give him a negative 13 report. So his signal to me is a little lower than my signal to him. Maybe he's QRP, I don't know. Usually they'll say it, but maybe not with POTA there. Now let's see if he comes back with a 73. There's Roger 73, Roger, Roger. And then mine automatically cycles a final 73. And I have it, it doesn't log automatically, so it pops this window up. I can change my transmission power. Usually I run 40, sometimes 50, but this was 60 watts. Click OK and you'll hear a ding. And that's my logging in Ham Radio Deluxe log. So there's a QSO. You see how it's mostly automated. which some people don't like, but you know, it's another form of using ham radio, so why not use it when you want? Uh, a lot of people on 40 meters. Let's see if we can get one more. Let's try this one, which is way over here. Look at that. I don't have anybody in Botswana. Interesting. I think I've got someone below that. It's not shown. Oh, I'd have to do PSK reporter. I've gotten someone on the southern tip here, and I've gotten this one, Madeira Island, and I can't remember, or it was over here, one of these areas. So this one, I might bump it up. I might bump this up to a full 100 watts and just see if we can get them, just because it's uh, someone I just don't see that many from Africa. We're transmitting now, so I'll wait. Now I'm going to bump it up. Let's bring it up to 100 watts. I've got an amp, but I mean, I could turn that on to try to get the QSO, but I don't need to, and it's 9:10. I'm actually over time. Um, we'll give it a couple tries. Let's see if we can reach him at 100 watts. That would be kind of cool to get one of the African countries I don't have. Well, did it say he's in South Africa though? It does say it's Botswana though. I think this is here. That would be very. Oh yeah, Botswana, DXCC, Botswana. That'd be very cool if I could get another country out of Africa there. They're tough though to get sometimes. We'll let it run a full cycle and then we'll end the stream for tonight. I didn't see any chat. Nobody logged in. So hopefully, if you're viewing this after the fact, you're searching for FT8 and you come across this. If you want comments or questions, put it down in the comment section. If I can get to you, I'll try to answer the question. Um, my YouTube channel, I'm just trying to do occasional videos on antennas and things that I've used, methods I found that work. I'm in an HOA. I'm in a small yard. Been doing a lot of NVIS communications for North Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. So I've been through quite a few antennas there. I do have a permanent HF antenna up. It's the Hustler 6B TV. I fashioned a 3x5 flag to it. So it's a flagpole, and there's nothing they can really say. Um, I take it down if the winds are over 30 miles an hour. It, it, but it works. So I have a 6-band antenna up all the time, and it actually works on 6 meter too. I've made QSOs on it. It's tuned for whatever crazy reason. But so I do some videos on those things. I'm going to do some more videos soon on the Chameleon NVIS dual dipole and their portable resonant vertical, which came out recently, which is a pretty cool antenna, especially for like POTA and hiking in and stuff. I'll let this run. I'll show you how this automatically shuts off after so many attempts. And what I'll do after this is I'll go to PSK Reporter. We'll see if he sees us, and maybe I'm just not getting him. I think it's 10. I think it's 10 transmissions, and then this enable automatically it goes off. So we're running a little late tonight, but that's fine since I had my microphone muted. Um, I'll put it in the description. Hopefully people will just skip that part or kind of go through it knowing that I messed up. So this is 9. I think one more and it will stop the automatic sequencing. There's another volunteers on the air. I'm not seeing anybody I know. All right, after this next transmission, I think the auto sequencing will stop. And that's a good thing. In case you step away and forget to hit a halt, it does stop. Well, that would have been a cool one to get, but It doesn't look like we're going to get it. Oh, wait. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it's not 10, maybe 12. Do, 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 do. Um, this is 11. Yeah, it must be 12. There's actually, it's odd that I see a lot of these transmissions here, QSOs in the waterfall, but I really don't see much DX going on right now, which is kind of strange. Um, this was one. It's very strange. Okay, well, it's not stopping for some reason. Oh, there we go. So see how that red went off, so it no longer will transmit automatically. That was a valiant attempt. That's okay. We'll go, let's check PSK reporter. Let me see. Let's see. Oops, where did I put it? Let's bring that down and let's see if he heard us. Close that. Oh, where did the window go? Come on. Oh, good grief. I got it stuck between screens. Well, here. Oh, see, look. Oh, look, here someone's trying to get us. I'll double click that and we'll do that QSO. Oh, crap. I'm at 100 watts. So see, he did see us 5 minutes ago. He had us at a negative 17. So um, maybe he tried and I just couldn't copy him after that first transmission. So unfortunate. He did get us at negative 17, which isn't horrible. Could easily do a QSO there, but perhaps we just couldn't. He just couldn't see us. So let's close that window. All right, so we just got one K3JSJ, and oops, I'm gonna have to put 100 in there because it was at 100. But you see here it shows the signal report, grid square, and all that. Ding, we got that QSO. Since he sent something to us, we'll go ahead and QSO him. All right, full QSO made. So that's pretty much it, folks. Thanks for watching, and I'm deleting last week's with the music. So they had I had put music in the background of last week, the same stuff I was doing, and just to have something kind of low in the background. And by the time I woke up, two of the three artists that I had claimed copyright, so they demonetized that video, even though I got the music from a website that they posted on with their profiles that said royalty free. Who knows? So I'm just re-recording it. And sorry about the muted mic at the beginning, but pretty simple. Those two web pages, download the two appropriate exe files, install the programs, set them up to link with your radio, and then I think you got the UDP and server information to go between these two programs here. So thanks everyone. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to just kind of grow the channel casually. It's not something I'm trying to make that I can live off of. That'd be kind of cool, I guess, but I just don't do enough videos out there, but I do plan on doing more. So thanks. Have a good evening. 73, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.